My name is Pamela Wisnitzer. Right now we're at Seamstress, which is a brand new bar and restaurant on the Upper East Side of New York City. Just opened a few months ago, and we're really proud to serve a phenomenal cocktail that I put together called an Evening Waltz. The inspiration actually comes from Ginger Rogers, who's one of my favorite actresses in the early 1900s. They always say Fred Astaire was great, but Ginger Rogers was better because she could do everything and in heels and backwards. So it's called Evening Waltz. It's a wonderful cocktail. We're going to start with a little bit of bitters. We have some chocolate mole bitters and Angostura, so 3 dashes of each. So we are doing chocolate and Angostura to sort of accent the other liquors that are going to be going into this drink, the aromas and the flavors, and also to add a lot of texture to the drink as you're drinking it. Just a nice over bar spoon of Demerara syrup. The sugar sort of acts as a binding agent in cocktails, so don't get those skinny girl margaritas. Always get sugar in your drink because it's actually really good. It helps hold the drink together. We're going to be using 0.75 ounces of PX sherry, Santo Pedro Jimenez, and sherry is a fortified wine coming from Spain. Really beautiful, lots of raisin notes, some chocolate notes, which also go with the bitters we put in before. We're going to be using a ½ ounce of a blended scotch. This one is called Great King Street, coming all the way from the other side of the pond in London is where it's blended. We're going to be using 0.75 ounces of Ronza Copper rum. For myself, this is a really amazing rum because the master blender, Lorena Vasquez, is one of the few female master blenders, especially in the rum community. This rum comes from Guatemala. It is distilled above the clouds, they say, at a very high elevation, so it's a beautiful spirit. And then we're going to be using another 0.5 ounces of another blended scotch. This one has a little bit more peat tones, and what peat means, it adds a little bit of smokiness to it. So for this drink, we actually wanted to use 2 different whiskeys for a few reasons, because they all add different tones. If you're just going to use the first blended one, the Great King Street, it has like a really nice base bone of the whiskey, but it doesn't have like those extra peat tones that we wanted. But we didn't want to use just a peated scotch, and so they sort of even each other out. And we're going to be stirring this cocktail down with some ice, and it's going to be served up. Serving up means that you've already pre-diluted everything in your glass beforehand, and you're going to serve it without ice ahead of time. So it's really important that we get it nice and cold. And also, when you're having a cocktail like a Manhattan or an Old Fashioned, it's important that you stir it, that you don't shake it, because you want that silky texture to come across in the drink. And if you shake it, you're airing it out, you're adding extra air bubbles to it, and that's just not the way it should be served. You kind of know when it's done when you're holding on to it, and you can really feel how cold it has gotten in the glass. Something I like to do is to taste it. So I like to take just a drop on my hand, make sure it's okay. And then you're gonna take your glass with a strainer. We're going to pour it out. I kind of like how nice and dark it is, and you can also see the texture of the drink on top, which is really nice as you pour it. And then we're just gonna use some orange oil, so it's just the peel of a fruit, and we're going to express on top, and we're going to discard to the side, because who needs that peel floating in there when you're trying to enjoy your drink anyways, right? So you get the aromas, you can smell it actually on top. I can smell it, and when you come have the drink, you'll smell it too. And I really love the color, the flavors, the texture, and the aroma all work together to make it a lovely evening. And maybe with too many of these, you'll start waltzing out the door. And that is an Evening Waltz, and enjoy. It's one of my favorites.